Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Today is Sunday, July 9th, 2023. I came across an interview this morning and I want to talk about it. I hope this gets some views. This is an interview of Republican candidate VIVEK Ramaswamy, and he's on The Breakfast Club. I had never heard of The Breakfast Club, and I believe the woman interviewing him, the link will be right down below. I encourage you guys to watch it. The woman interviewing him, I believe her name, I had to look this up, is Ella Maya. I believe that's her name. I did some searches, and if it's not her, I apologize, but the link will be right down below, so you can watch this yourselves. The reason I came across this is because there'll be another link down below to Media Light, I think it's called. And this article was talking about how Vivek Ramaswamy he's a presidential candidate running in 2024. And right off the bat, I think this guy doesn't have a snowball's chance in Hades of winning. I got to be careful what I say here, monetized. But then again, I said the same thing about Donald Trump in 2016. I laughed. I thought Donald Trump was a joke. And I seriously, I was crushed, man, when Donald Trump won. So I'll never do that again. So who knows? I mean, something could happen. Something could easily happen to Trump. He could end up in jail. DeSantis is bombing by the day with his making Florida so inhospitable and just focusing on culture wars instead of what concerns most Americans. His numbers are going down. So who knows? Vivek Ramaswamy could, actually become a front runner. All right. The thing that concerned me most, the reason I looked this up, is because he wants to do away with the 26th Amendment. I'll sum this up quick if you don't. The 26th Amendment is the right of all American citizens when they turn 18 years old. Their right to vote shall not be taken away or unabridged, or I'm not saying it word for word, but when you're 18 years old, you're an American citizen, you got the right to vote. Bam, that's it. And this shall not be taken away. That's in the Constitution. Okay, one of the main things Vivek Ramaswamy wants to do is do away with that and raise the voting age to 25, from 18 to 25. Okay, and right off the bat, you know why they're doing this. Because most younger people are, without a doubt, more younger people are liberal. And not to mention Biden's efforts, like the efforts to do away with college tuition, to do away with college tuition bills, payment on tuition bills, and the Supreme Court has probably ticked off a whole generation of voters and future voters by taking this away. So it's kind of obvious to me why he's doing this. Then he talks about passing. You have to pass a test. So you have to pass a citizenship test. He doesn't think it should be a birthright. You have to prove that you apparently have to pass some kind of test to prove that you know of something about the country. Like I said, I think this is just an effort to make the far right more winnable. Just that's to sum it up, because they don't have a good chance. The far right, it does not have a good chance of winning, and I think this gives them a better chance of winning. All right, Ella Maya interviewed him in this interview, and in my opinion, she tore him apart. She tore him a new one. I didn't realize when I searched this. There's a lot of YouTube shows talking about this. There's a live show talking about this right now, this morning. This interview. So this is a big interview, and people are divided. Some people say Vivek Ramaswamy kick the Breakfast Club's butt, and I think they cleaned up they mopped up with him. This guy comes across as a snake oil salesman to me, a BSer. Ella Maya, the interviewer on this, the link will be right down below. In this interview, she keeps asking him, well, what credentials, what do you have to make you, what experience do you have in leadership roles to become president of the United States? And he can't name one. And he just keeps naming things that made him money. His $1 billion biomedical bio company. And like I said, he's a BSer because he keeps switching this around. He says how if he can't answer a question, he just says he doesn't believe in that. I don't believe in that. And he does this all through the interview. When she asks him, just name one time, like, even in 8th grade when you took a leadership role in the student council, and he's like, I don't want to brag, but then he's bragging all about all the money he made, and lives he saved and all this other stuff, with these billion-dollar companies. He is just a total BSer. And I realized watching this interview that I, a recovering heroin and crack cocaine addict, actually have more qualifications to run for president of the United States than VIVEK Ramaswamy. I started thinking about certain, leadership roles, and I've never considered myself a leader. And I'm not saying I deserve to run for president. I'm just saying me, a recovering heroin and crack cocaine addict, has more credentials than this guy trying to run for president of the United States. That's my point here. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to promote myself here. I thought about it, like all through recovery. I ran groups. Because at first I was like, I don't have any leadership roles either. But in NA meetings for 6 months, I got up in front of a whole, about one of the biggest AA meetings in Connecticut, 50 people, and I ran that meeting every day. I was terrified when I first did this. And back when I was in the hospital in rehab, I did the same thing, but even to a bigger extent. I was the permanent leader of the NA meetings. Then I thought about this YouTube channel, and is this leadership? Because in this interview, Ella Maya on the Breakfast Club, she kind of defines the leadership role as influencing other people, getting up in front of people and convincing them of something, that something's just or unjust, or influencing people's beliefs. And that's kind of what this YouTube channel is. So I thought about it. It's like, I think I've been doing this. I've got 2,100 videos where I've got up and done this video every single day at 3:30. Like I said, I'm not promoting myself here. I'm just trying to make Vivek Ramaswamy look more inexperienced than he, don't really need to do that. But then I thought deeper into this. She asked him this. Vivek Ramaswamy wants to raise the voting age to 25 years old. So she asked him this. He's 37. You can't become president of the United States till you're 35, right? And she asked him this. So when was the first time you voted? The first time he voted was in 2020. He's voted one time, by his account, in a presidential election 2 years ago. So that means me, during all my years, I've been voting since I was 18 years old. I voted every year for every presidential election, and in the last 20 years, I've been voting in the secondary elections. I don't know if that's exactly what they're called. So I thought about this, and I have more civic duty. I had more civic duty, even as a full-blown heroin and crack cocaine addict, a crackhead. I had more civic duty than this guy running for president. He voted one time. So for 15, you can vote from the age of 18, and he didn't vote till he was 35. So that's 17 years. For 17 years, or what? 4 presidential elections. He just sat out, didn't pay any attention, didn't care. And now, out of the blue, he wants to run for president. And like this interviewer says, he's got absolutely no leadership ability. He starts talking about capitalism a lot in this interview. There's one thing I want to say, and I'm not taking Ella Maya to task here, but it's something I realized because of my view of veterans. Like I tend to view veterans as not as civic as that it's so much about service. In this interview, Ella Maya, she's very proud of being a veteran of the Air Force, and she should be. But the way she talks about being a veteran, she makes it sound like everybody that goes into the service, into the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, is doing it in their sense of civic duty for patriotism. And like I said, I'm not tearing on veterans here, but I'm making a point. Back in my day, back in 1984, when I was 18 years old, there were no wars. There were no wars. There was no Afghanistan, no Iraq. The only thing there was the threat of total nuclear annihilation. That's the only thing that we thought about. Seriously, there was the USSR and there was America, and the threat of total annihilation. There wasn't really much thought of hand-to-hand shooting, tanks, planes. It was all or nothing. Seriously, if you're from my generation, if you're my age, and most of you are, you'll agree with this. And I remember back in high school, I just came to this realization this morning. And I'm not putting down veterans, but I'm just saying the mindset, I think, was different. And that gives me a different view, a different view, I think, of people wanting to go into the service. Because back when I was 18 years old, I thought about the people all around me, and not just my friends, not just the burnouts, not just the jocks, not just the poins, the Poindexters, as we used to call them. You know, everybody I heard talk about going into the service was doing it as something to do. Their friends were going to college, others were starting a bit or going to their family business, and like my best friend, I was going to join with him, and we were all set to take the physical and everything like that, and it was a buddy system. And he was concerned about how much money he was going to get for college. It really was. Back in my day, I think it was more self-centered. It was more about what am I going to get out of this? You know, there wasn't much of a threat of life and limb. It was more of a job. It was more of a choice. Well, some people are going to college. I'm going in the Army. And when I get out of the Army, and my buddy went into use the money from the Army, went to college. And when he was in the Army, it was just like a job. You know, he didn't. Back in '84, that's what this was like. So today, when I hear people like Maya talk about service and risking life and limb, and everybody here owes their freedom to the people that were in Iraq, to the people, the vets. I think that's why I'm a little pessimistic, a little doubtful of that. Because I was wondering why I have this attitude towards vets, and I'm probably wrong for that. I think since 2001, New York City, I think things have changed since the millennium. I think things have changed, especially, and things have become. People have become more patriotic, definitely, or more divided. I don't know. You could say it either way. These are some of my thoughts today. Anyway, I'm not running for president. I'm just saying it's amazing that a recovering addict, and even back when I was a full-blown crackhead, heroin addict, I was voting for presidents. Well, VIVEK Ramaswamy was trying to make himself some quick money and get people to work for him and earning his first $1 billion and saying, I don't have time to vote for president. And now he actually wants to be president. I had more of a civic duty when I was a full-blown crackhead than the guy running as a Republican for president of the United States. Wow. All right. The link's down below. Check it out. Have a good Sunday.